This is Rabbi and Son, hot takes on news, pop culture, and religion, hosted by Rabbi Patrick and my son, Javon. Spiritual, irreverent, always fearless, produced by Darshan Yeshiva. We've got some changes that we're making, so there's going to be a little bit of a format change in terms of lengths of podcasts. We have more podcasts coming out, which will be really exciting, and hopefully producer Kaylee won't be too upset with us that we're doubling the workload. But it's giving you more content, which makes us feel really happy. So like, share, subscribe, join our Substack, DarshanYeshiva.substack.com. Please become a student at Darshan Yeshiva. That's what supports all of this madness and pays for the microphones. Well, there was one other topic related to the mental health issues with Gen Z. There's also substance use.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a subject near and dear to my heart.
According to the American Psychological Association, as of March 1st, 2024, more teens than ever are overdosing. Psychologists are leading a new approach to combat substance misuse. For years, students in middle and high school across the country were urged to just say no to drugs and alcohol. But that's no secret that the drug abuse resistance education program, which was typically delivered by police officials who urged total substance abstinence, didn't work.
Right.
A meta-analysis found the program largely ineffective. And one study even showed that kids who completed DARE were more likely than their peers to take drugs.
So it was hipster ironic when I was your age to wear DARE t-shirts. Like you would see kids at like concerts and stuff. DARE t-shirts. I'm going to show my age here. Silly hipster haircuts, DARE t-shirts, white belts, girl jeans because there were no skinny jeans yet, and then Chucks or Vans or whatever. Yeah, I remember those DARE t-shirts.
Yeah. Okay. And they're quoting someone right here. I don't know who it is. We know that Just Say No, the Just Say No campaign doesn't work. It's based in pure risk, and that doesn't resonate with teens, said developmental psychologist Bernie Halpern. Oh, that's a long name. Halpern Flesher. Yeah.
Halpern, Fleischer, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. PhD, a professor of pediatrics and founder of an executive director of several substance use prevention and intervention curriculums at Stanford University.
Okay.
Quote: There are real and perceived benefits to using drugs, as well as risks, such as coping with stress or liking the quote high. If we only talk about the negative, we lose our credibility. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to agree with this.
Okay.
Because it's like you saying something, especially the kids, like as a negative, and just like, if you do this, like bad is gonna happen. And then like there's gonna be that one kid just like, well, let me try it.
Sure. Yeah.
And then like they figure it out that it's not that.
Okay.
I think, but then that leads to like things like if you were trying a harder substance or like alcohol.
Right.
And it's just like, not really talking about that addictive nature. It's just telling you to stay away from it.
Right.
It's not telling you why exactly you stay away from it, or that, yes, you can use drugs, but in moderation.
Right.
It just said don't do it, period. And it's not, there's no learning. There was no, this can cause, blah, 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 prolonged use.
Right.
Or this is like very addictive. It was just don't use it, period.
Right.
So like they didn't know that you get hooked on XYZ.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Because look, like there's a lot of things that are true about this, and there are things that are understated and overstated, right? We live in, a city where the art museum was, dedicated by a family that made all their money off of Oxycontin, right? And the promise of like, there will never be pain ever again. And it's like, yeah, I bet if you're a person who, was in severe pain, like, you were in combat and you have 100% disability rating, that, Oxycontin probably was a great thing. However, if you're a person who, you live in a poor area, you feel like there's no hope for you, and the only escape that you have from this trauma and this pain is to take Oxy. Well, those are two different situations now, aren't they? And the situational nature of this stuff is important. That's really valuable.
I mean, even so, like, the moment you put opioid in a drug, like, it increases the addictive nature of that drug. And it's like, if someone's constantly in chronic pain, they have to take,
right.
Then it's like, it's risk.
Right.
Risk.
Right.
It's, risky situations here.
Well, and some of these doctors, and we never want to point the finger at doctors. And it really stinks because sometimes you have to point the finger at doctors to be like, you know what, you should not have prescribed this drug for this long to this many people. That was a poor choice.
Or in this high of a dose.
Like, and maybe it was an innocent thing. Maybe it was not innocent, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I can't claim to know how to prescribe things, but like, I mean, I think we know, like, there were these pill mills out in, West Virginia and other places. And yeah, it was terrible. Got people hooked on drugs because it was despair, right? Uses of despair.
Yeah. Okay. So changes in drug use. In 2022, about 1 in 3 high school seniors and 1 in 5 sophomores and 1 in 10 eighth graders reported using illicit substance in the past year, according to the National Institute of Drug Use annual survey. Those numbers were down slightly from pre-pandemic levels and essentially at their lowest point in the decade. Substance use during adolescence is particularly dangerous because, psychoactive substances, including nicotine, cannabis, and alcohol, can interfere with healthy brain development. Young people who use substances early and frequent also have higher risk of developing a substance use disorder in adulthood. Kids who avoid regular substance use are more likely to succeed in school and avoid problems with the juvenile justice system. Okay, now to speak to that, like you said, poor areas, because this is very much a problem. I mean, and I don't want to say poor areas because it's like, why is there like need to be like a literal rehabilitation high school in Chesapeake,
in our own community.
Like that's actually crazy. So kids are on pills.
Yeah, crazy to consider.
Not crazy that they're getting help, but crazy to consider that actually needs to be a physical building. That needed to be built. Right. And I honestly, it's kind of hard to know what's like actually going on. Because poor communities, like, you get. Like, you get, people sometimes drag them into that lifestyle. They see it around them, and then they just get into it. Because, like, what else more do I know? And, some people, escape that. But, some people just fall into it. But then, like areas like this, I mean, maybe it's like the overprescription of, like, some of these, antidepressants or, like, like, I don't want to say steady aids because that's what they are, but, like,
that's how they're treated.
Yeah, that type of medication. And it's just like, what is really going on?
Right. I mean, I'm grateful that the Jewish community has started to have better conversations around this stuff because, there are places like Beit Tshuva and other like rehabilitation oriented places. Chabad is involved with this. Other communities are involved with this. We're involved with this, like through the Chesterfield jail, whatever. But you have to have honest conversations with people, and it is tough because you see the amount of drug addiction that's found in places like West Virginia. But you don't want to label drug addiction a poverty problem, right? Because you have plenty of wealthy people, children of wealthy people.
I mean,
you have
wealthy,
just as many issues.
Like, but
it's just not as devastating. But
there's a difference between the drugs wealthy people have access to and the drugs poor people have access to.
That's
poor
fair.
People have access to, like, crack, meth, heroin, fentanyl.
Right. And there's definitely a class divide in terms of how certain drugs are used. Opioids, I would gather, are opioids, alcohol, marijuana are kind of like
the general,
right.
Anyone can get, but like high type of drugs and like prescriptions, like somehow kids who have parents with more money tend to be, more like the pill poppers, and like the cocaine users.
Right. And some of this has to do with like social use, like who you're around, what you see them doing, how you get exposed to stuff.
Yeah, but where would okay, I can give like certain stuff that people can find a way to get.
Okay.
But like cocaine, like that is actually,
you didn't live in the aughts, kid. Well, I guess you did. You were born in it, but yeah, no, the aughts were a crazy time. You could go to just about any club, and there was going to be someone. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the 1970s. It wasn't Studio 54, but like, yeah, I mean, party culture, stuff like that.
Yeah, but see, you say party culture, but then like younger people, they don't go to the club.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Yeah,
so it's like,
yeah, that's a your generation thing. I don't know.
But speaking of,
okay,
the drug that young people are using and the way they're using them has also changed.
Okay.
And psychologists say, this needs to inform educational efforts around substance use. Alcohol and cocaine are less popular than they were in the 1990s.
I would believe that.
The use of cannabis and hallucinogens, which are now more salient and easier to obtain, were higher than ever among young adults in 2020.
Yep, I can see that.
Quote, Gen Z is drinking less alcohol than previous generations, but they seem to be increasingly interested in psychedelics and cannabis. Yeah, Chrissy said. Quote, those substances have a kind of replaced alcohol as the cool thing to be doing. Young people are also seeing and sharing content about substance use on social media, with a rise in posts and influencers promoting vaping on TikTok and other platforms. Research suggests that adolescents and young adults who see tobacco or nicotine content on social media are more likely to start using it. Okay.
Yeah, that's we've always kind of known that.
But that's any media. Yeah. That's the point of media.
And they've been saying that forever. I mean, we know for a fact, like we were talking about this the other night, that one of the reasons why smoking isn't as popular as it used to be is that basically advertising and TV shows and movies stopped showing it.
Yeah, plus it stinks.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
well. So does marijuana smoke. I mean, you go up to DC. I mean, we walk down the streets in DC and it's just like a haze.
Yeah, but like that's not as much of like pungent smell like a Newport. Like, you understand? Like it is just like that.
I have to think about that.
It's that, because like Newport, it's like headache inducing, like,
right,
and like with the new types of like vapes and stuff,
that's true.
It's like fruitier,
right?
Like things that they claim it's aren't marketed to kids. Okay. But like, it's fruitier, it tastes better, and it's like, right. Oh, I'm just gonna vape. I'm stressed out. I need my vape.
Right.
Like, people in middle school vape. Like, every time you see a kid's hand,
doing
like,
that move,
a little
like ninja stealth.
Yeah, move, vape. Like, kids in middle school vaping. Like, kids drinking. Like, it's not as popular, but some kids still do it. Okay. Don't nobody want to get drunk. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, but vaping and like, drinking and, marijuana, I don't know, because I did talk to some people in class like a while ago about, because they went to and, rumors at that school about, certain substances.
We might just, rip out the name of that school. Just,
Mysterious school.
School.
In Chesterfield County.
Okay.
Like, talking about like pills and like cocaine, like,
wow.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, it would be interesting to know, like, not just what drugs are being used, but what are the contexts they're being used in. So for example, like you were saying, like, but young people today don't go to the club the way that like our generation did. Well, does that mean that people are taking pills at home, like on their couch while scrolling their phones? You know what I mean? Like, what does it look like today? Right? It's not just the use of a substance, but what is the context? And I'm not saying it's better to use it in a nightclub than to use it like in your living room by yourself. But I do think some of
don't you think so?
So some of the social elements, I mean, I'm not going to say here or there, but I just think it would be interesting to know, like, because it goes back to like, are these drugs being used as party elevation, whatever? Are they being used to, fill up a hole inside someone's heart? Is it about despair? I mean, that's what, the mortality rate went up because of deaths of despair, right? I mean, people using, medications to, end their lives, right? It wasn't because of like, any number of diseases that could happen, whatever, putting COVID aside. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I agree. The sort of say no to drugs thing didn't quite work. We don't want to say yes to drugs. We're just saying we education matters.
Hey, like we would not recommend it, and here's why.
Right.
Because you're not gonna really stop.
Right.
Anyone, but you can like why, and kids are gonna experiment. Right. Like that we know. But like, I'm more so concerned about like, the vaping in 8th grade. Like, in middle school, this is like something I'm more so concerned about because like, it's like, how are middle schoolers getting vapes? Like
they're buying them from older kids, I assume.
Where are they getting the money from?
Kids like have little allowances and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, some
I don't know. I'm now a grown man speculating how an 8th grader gets a Juul, so I really don't know.
But it is like a thing that's like
pretty common.
Yes, like how, like if you see any video in school and it's like kids have vapes, like they carry it around.
So this is on like TikTok and stuff like that. The kids are doing this, because you were talking about they share it on social media. Yeah, I don't know, but I think contrary to what people would believe about the clergy, I think one of the keys with the substance abuse stuff is to take the morality out of it. Because if you make it a moral issue, which is kind of when I was growing up what they did, right? They made like, they made it this moral thing of like
if
good people.
If you're doing drugs, you are going to see brimstone.
Well, not quite. But I mean, maybe in churches they did that. I don't know.
Yeah, but like trying to, but it's like trying to put yourself above. Right. In a way. Right. And it's like, no, you're a person. You could like see, this sometimes people, hesitant to go to that clergy. Right. Like, because they're afraid they're going to be judged. Right. And that like, that this, and sort of kind of like, no, but like encouraging you to realize too that like, because there are, some of you out there that like to judge a lot. And like, you're a person and you make mistakes. Yep. That's right. And it's not your job. You're not the ultimate adjudicator. Your job is to like, guide people. That's right. Not judge on the way to guiding. That's right. Yeah. Like, still you're gonna make mistakes, your kids are gonna make mistakes, and like, you are still no better than anyone out here. Yep. All right. So we'll reach the end of our time. Shorter forms that we normally do. Have you got a hot take for us, or a quote for us at all? No, I do not. Well, I think that we're leaving it on, your job is to guide, not to judge. Exactly. I love it. That's the quote. Thanks again, everyone. Rabbi and Son, please follow, like, share, subscribe. Thank you, Darshan Yeshiva. Thank you, producer Kaylee. Thank you, Javon. We'll see you next time. Thank you to our sponsors at Darshan Yeshiva for making this content possible. Darshan Yeshiva provides beginner-level online Jewish learning, including the very popular Conversion to Judaism program, with sponsoring rabbis and students all over the world. Start your Jewish journey any place, anywhere, and anytime with our conservative, reform, reconstructionist, Jewish renewal, humanistic, and post-denominational rabbi mentors. Become the Jew you always wanted to be with Darshan Yeshiva.